Welcome back to Leeds Lately. Before we get into this exciting news video, if you could just hit that subscribe button down below, that would really help me out. Now, let's get straight into it because today's video is about the fact that the 49ers, as of yesterday, the 9th of June, have taken over Leeds United, and Radrizzani has sold his shares, including in the stadium as well. I think it is still subject to EFL approval, but it should go through because everything looks to be all in order and nice and tidy. But this means that the last video I made about Radrizzani needing to sell the club because he tried to use it as collateral in a loan to try and buy Sampdoria. He wasn't there on the last day of the season. There's stuff about the Myanmar tour, the badge, some of the kits. He's made a lot of mistakes. Radrizzani, though, was responsible for fronting the money to get Bielsa and to get back in the Premier League, so we can't ignore the fact that he did do some good, but it was his time to leave. It was his time to come to a close at Elland Road, and now we have Parag Marath as the chairman. We have an investment group, though. It's not just one person, the 49ers. Obviously, a lot of you will know this, but let's just briefly go over it so that people know where we stand with this. It's actually a core group of 11 major investors. The 49ers to secure ownership of the stadium from Radrizzani, injection of working capital, which we will get into in more detail, and the head coach process to be finalised next week, and there is a list of coaches, so we'll talk about that a little bit as well. And like I said, Parag Marath is going to be the chairman. So what it means is that people like Pete Lowy, who owns, I think, is the Blue Water shopping empire, basically. He's a big Leeds fan, born in Australia, grew up listening to Leeds on the radio and stuff. And he's a big Leeds fan and he wants to be a big part of this. So a lot of his money will be invested into this. And then there's also, like I said there, a load of other investors from the 49ers investment group that will be putting money in. So it's not just one person, it is a group of people, but the chairman himself, the person who will actually be in situ at Elland Road, will be Parag Marath, who I actually saw at Elland Road not so long back. I can't remember which the game it was. It might have been the Southampton game, and he was walking through the cheese wedge and he was right in front of me. A lot of people didn't know who he was, but yes, the man in the thumbnail, the man you see behind me, is the one that's going to be the chairman, going to be the new Andrea Radrizzani. No news yet on whether he will keep Angus Kinnear in post. That one remains up to him, really. Angus Kinnear, I think he's done an okay job at times, but also some of the things he said in the programme notes have riled people up, and it's been a bit of a turbulent time, especially over the last couple of years since Bielsa left, for Angus Kinnear, and I don't know whether he'll want to stay even, but I feel like he may want to oversee a little bit of the stadium redevelopments if that goes ahead, if we can get back up into the Premier League. So that's the sort of business bit out of the way. When we actually talk about the exciting thing, the thing that we want to know about is the money. So Phil Hay, this comes from Phil Hay. He's written an article on The Athletic about what this means for Leeds' summer budget, and he's basically saying that if Radrizzani had stayed in charge, he would have just used the parachute payments, which, let me actually just go on a tangent for a little second and explain the parachute payments, because somebody did ask me that. When the three clubs get relegated from the Premier League, they get some money from Premier League broadcasting rights in the Championship as the parachute payments. Now, the first year, it is 55% of that money that they would have had they stayed in the league, 45% in year two, and if the club was in the Premier League for more than one season, which Leeds were, they would then get a 20% in the final season of that as well. So over 3 years, you get 55%, 45%, and 20% of the Premier League revenue that you would have had you stayed up. So now we've got through that. What does it mean in terms of actual money? Well, it would, for Leeds, mean about £45 million in this first year. Hopefully we can go straight back up and then you don't carry on continuing receiving those. You just get your normal Premier League payments. But if we don't go up, obviously then that's going to drop by another 10% and then down to 20% the year after that, so that you can sort of slowly ease your way back into the EFL, which we don't want to do. You can see I nearly choked me up thinking about it. So that's how the parachute payments work. So let's go back to what we were saying. Phil Hay was saying that had Radrizzani remained in charge, Leeds was preparing itself to be self-sufficient during the current transfer window. So they would have used the parachute payment, that 45 million, for any dealings that they would have had. Apparently, Radrizzani did not appear to have significant amounts of money left to invest in the club, and preparing for next season would have involved using players' sales and parachute payments to finance business. But as it says in the thumbnail, apparently the 49ers are willing to put a cash injection in to get Leeds straight back up to the Premier League again. And it's going to allow Leeds, basically, and Phil Hayes' word, to have a more active or more aggressive window than we otherwise might have had. That doesn't mean to say that we are going to go out and buy every man and his dog to put in this team, but it does mean that maybe, even though you will see some more loans and stuff coming in, you might see a little bit more ambitious transfers, and we may be able to pay people a slightly higher wage than we would have done otherwise. So yeah, it's given us an opportunity really to get the players in that we really want without having the restrictions of having to sell people first. So let's talk about the way this is going then. So it looks like Tyler Adams might be leaving. It looks like Brendan Aronson might be leaving. There's interest from clubs in the Premier League for a couple of our players. We'd be relying on them leaving before we could actually make any moves the other way to bring people in, but now we can actually be a bit more proactive. We can go out and buy players and wait till those bids come in for those other players like Brendan Aronson, Tyler Adams. We'd be waiting for better deals because we can afford then to hold out a little bit longer and say, look, we don't actually need the money right now to be able to invest in players. So although we've gone down to the Championship, the ball's kind of in the person who wants to buy the players' court for them to put up a little bit more money and Leeds to accept then. So Leeds, it gives them a little bit of bargaining power having this little bit of extra cash injection. Don't know, easy for me to say. It gives us a little bit more bargaining power in the transfer market, and I think that's actually invaluable. The other thing was that I mentioned there, managers to be finalised next week, because we need one, and we need to know who the manager is, because then we'll know what sort of players to bring in. And obviously, like I always do, I'll be providing a tactical analysis, tactical breakdown on how this manager, whichever one is picked, plays, and then I will then be able to do my own sort of the Leeds Lately scouting department, who I think would actually be a really good fit for this manager in the Championship. So the list of Championship managers then, or managers that could come to the Championship to manage Leeds, Brendan Rodgers is probably the one that most people are saying is the highest calibre. They'd like him to come. People still got a little bit of faith in Carlos Corberán, given that he was working under Bielsa at Elland Road. And then there's Daniel Farke as well, who's come in and seemed a little bit like he could be quite likely. He's got good experience in the Championship. He's only ever really managed right at the top and with Norwich, and they've always bounced straight back up under him. So he's got good experience in the Championship. He knows how to win the league. He knows how to play good football. He knows how to score goals and how to defend goals. He's not very good when he gets to the Premier League. So then, do you get Daniel Farke in to bring you back to the Premier League and then swap him out and get another manager? I feel like that's also a little bit of a gamble as well. So maybe bringing in somebody like Brendan Rodgers, if you can afford to pay him the money, which we now can because we know that the 49ers have got a bit of money behind them, we could then afford to pay Brendan Rodgers enough that when he gets back up into the Premier League, he could stick with us, and he has actually got a proven track record and experience in the Premier League. And with the right investment behind him, which you could say he didn't really have at Leicester, he could do really well with Leeds United. So it remains to be seen, but whoever it is, I hope it's not Gerrard, but whoever it is, I hope they come in and do a really good job of bringing in just a few players here and there to really solidify this team and get us back to the Premier League. Like I say, though, I will be doing a tactical breakdown of how they play, whichever manager it is. I'll be doing videos about what sort of transfers I think we should bring in for this manager to see who suits them. But yeah, I think it's a very exciting time for us. We needed this to happen. We needed a complete fresh start at Elland Road, and I think that's what we're going to get because of this, especially because we're getting rid of a lot of first-team players as well. We're going to have a little bit of almost a factory reset of Leeds United, and we're going to go again, and we're going to be a whole different club, hopefully. Also, if you haven't seen it already, most people have though, because it's my most viewed video ever, the Elland Road expansion explained video. Go and check that out, because the 49ers will be the ones that have experience actually developing stadiums and building stadiums, and so their influence could be key in actually getting this done. And because it's not just reliant on Premier League money because of Radrizzani, the 49ers could actually start the process of building rebuilding the West Stand and modernising Elland Road before we even go up. It's actually supposed to be spades in the ground summer 2024, so it would be just after this next coming season. So it could be that we're on our way back to the Premier League by then, and then they're going to start. But yeah, go and check that out if you want to know more detail. Obviously, some things will be a little outdated because of Radrizzani and stuff, but the actual key elements have been planned for a long time. So yeah, you'll be able to get a bit of an idea of what we might be doing for the stadium as well. So exciting times ahead for Leeds United. I'm live actually tonight doing the Champions League final. Few people said that they'd be happy to join me on that one on the last game of the season live stream, because I just want to watch football where it's good and the players are so talented, and it's unbelievable to watch. It's the biggest game. It's the biggest game in club football. So yeah, join me tonight. I think it's at 8 p.m, but I'll be live 10 minutes earlier, talking about the lineups and all that sort of thing. But yeah, join me live, and obviously, because this is a Leeds channel, there'll be plenty of Leeds chat as well, so you can get your questions in that live chat about what you've seen in this video and stuff as well, and we'll be able to have a chat about it. So yeah, thanks for watching Leeds Lately this season, and a new era of Leeds Lately and a new era of Leeds United is about to begin. So stick around, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and there'll be plenty more Leeds United content on the way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Leeds Lately.